Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to Let's Play Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree. I believe we've already talked to Needle Knight Letta, so we can simply step right into the egg by touching the withered arm. And this will transport us to a really nice choke point. So you know how FromSoft are experts at funneling you into like this area where you can view a gorgeously arranged, sweeping, painterly composition? This is one of the best. I think the depth, how striking the contrast is here, all the shadow, and this twisted inverse of the Erdtree, the Scadutree looming over everything. With these, they look like curtains, or rather a veil draped over everything, and it's so breathtaking and beautiful. And then if we zoom in to get a better look, that's our first enemy in the distance, and then also the big flaming guy off way in the distance is a furnace golem. We're going to do our best to avoid for now. And as for that first enemy perched up there, they want to send a message with this enemy. And that message is that you are not safe here. This place is going to kick your teeth in. Oh, God. Both of those whiffed, so that's not pleasant for me. Okay. Nope, nope, nope. Nope. Still going. Nope. They have everything that they... Oh, God, that's more damage than I feel a projectile should do. Right. Immediately, it's gloomy. There's this sense of mourning that there's like... The veil hanging over the sky is the most funerary thing about this whole landscape. Here we'll just mark out our first couple points of interest to check out. This one has a boss. Across this bridge here, there's a Grace in the dungeon we'll hit later. West across from that, there's a road that's going to go under this plateau here that leads, I believe, to our first dungeon. We'll also meet some folks there. And then, further to the south, there is a Scadutree Fragment I want, and in the copse nearby, there's a dude with a shiny new weapon. And now let's zoom out, and it's the base game all over again. Am I wrong, or did they say something about the DLC being the size of approximately Limgrave? Because that was an outrageous lie. I think our first heavy pot. Upgraded throwing pots. It's gonna come in handy later. I think part of what makes the scope of Elden Ring so impressive is not just like the sheer immensity and density of it, but that FromSoft really undersold how big the base game would be. And then did the same thing with this. So watching the curtain pull back to reveal an ever grander spectacle was a genuine surprise. It's pretty magical. And devs underselling the size of their open world is pretty rare. Usually if a developer makes a big AAA open world game, what What they want you to know about is the square footage, the mileage, the acreage. Thin bloodstained dagger no longer fit for use, raises attack power after each critical hit. Hornsen employed this to honorably end the suffering of a compatriot. After claiming numerous lives, the dagger is now broken, but has acquired a spectral aura. Talisman that gives you a damage boost after viscerals. And we can just jump down off here. Fleshy mushrooms, red flesh mushrooms. Something is still engaging with us, so I can't... Must be them. Yeah, they're just throwing rocks. We'll ride away. You can get a little bit closer to the Furnace Golem before he starts shooting his big tornadic fire laser at you, sniping you from across the region. Over here by these graves, there's a couple of shades. One of them holding a pot, and if you kill him, we are going to get our first Scadutree Fragment, and that's how I'm going to be saying it. Shadow of the Erdtree is quite tough, and it's got its own separate scaling mechanic. That dark tree off in the distance is the Scadutree. And how I'm saying that is going to be the source of some debate. Because I've heard it as Shadu, with the argument that the SC is supposed to make like a sh sound. There's the evergreen Skibbity tree, the blue Skadoo you can 2 tree. Oh, and paintings are back. I do not recall a character pronouncing the word, so all interpretations are valid. Said to have captured landscape scene in soul of the painter. No, nothing. Oh, that's disappointing. Yeah, I don't think any character says it aloud, so... In function, it's the Scadutree. It's the land of shadows. Skadu is a made-up word, or Shadu, whatever, is a made-up word that is obviously supposed to be like a cognate of shadow in some way. And if you think the SC makes a sh sound anyway, I would just personally rather shadow than Shadu, because I think the latter sounds a little bit silly. And if you missed it, what we picked up back there was the backhand blade. Now we're going to kind of go the long way around him and head to that underpass gate. So I was saying, the Scadutree Fragments are tied to the expansion. You can use them at Sites of Grace to increase your damage mitigation and your damage output while you're in the Shadowlands specifically. It comes out to be like roughly 5% each per level, and you can go up to plus 20, which essentially cuts the amount of damage that you take in half and doubles the damage you do at maximum. And they are necessary. You are going to want to scour the entire land for fragments. The damage output in particular of these bosses and these enemies is astronomical. But enough about that for now. Let's meet some new friends, some new characters.
Ah, Lady Leda spoke of you. You're that tarnished. Guided here by kindly Mikola. Won't we all? I am Freya. I once fought alongside General Radahn. In battle, you can be sure I'll hold my own. Oh, another thing. Did you speak to our dour little friend? If you've yet to do so, have him give you a map of the Cross's whereabouts. You'll find more of them dotted about these lands. They are Mikola the Kind's footprints. If you've yet to do so,
Freya,
assuming you
another
okay?
follower of kindly Mikola, once appeared to Radon. What about her friend?
Fie, another. Treading the heels of Mikola. Then, as that woman would surely say, we are in our purposes well aligned. But understand, your kind are not forgiven. The Erdtree is my people's enemy. By Marika long betrayed, set aflame. I believe Mikola's apologies when he says our delivery will come, but never will I see your kind as worthy. And yet my oath I cannot overlook. If Mikola it is whom you would seek, then comrade, allow me to give you this. These are the sites of the crosses I found. I urge you, follow after Mikola. As long as you abide by his footfalls, you will be no enemy to me. I urge you, follow after me. As long as you abide by
A begrudging alliance. I abandon here the first of the flesh of my body. The crosses mark Mikola's path through the lands of shadow, and what he shed of his humanity along the way. Gives frozen sullen lands. Oh, flesh of the mushroom similar to raw meat and can serve as pot innards. I was right, flesh mushrooms. Found everywhere in the land of shadow, in the realm of shadow. A somber plain covered in spirit graves, the spiral tower of the Hornsent lies to the northwest, and the entire expanse is marred by the harrowing ravages of war. They are potentates of Bonnie Village, craft these and store them in a frozen jail. Oh, yes. Haunted by grotesque practice of his village of birth, stuffed great pots with all manner of things. Scadutree is the shadow of the Erdtree, no wonder grace shines ever so brilliantly. Gold currency used by Hornsent, made by coating spiral horns with silver. Once symbolic of society's upper echelons. So the spiral tower, the Hornsent, be hearing more about them. Much information on the backhand blade, sadly. Similar the Scadutree that contains golden brilliance acquired at the Church of Marika and other places in the realm of shadow. And consumer these sites said that when the Scadutree crumbles from its core, that it will scatter across the entire realm of shadow. The people of the Erdtree collect the splinters and use them in prayer. And we got this flower earlier. Heavy with Empyrean blood, said to burgeon forth from where the golden blood of Mikola, the wounded Empyrean, pooled. And as for the greater potentates of Bonnie Village, oh yeah, and their greater jail, we will actually get a lot more into that.
In battle, you can be sure I'll hold my own.
Okay, refreshing doesn't get us any new dialogue from Freya.
I urge you, follow after Mikola, as long as you abide by...
Okay, neither of them. We do get the recipe finally for hefty fire pots, upgraded fire pots. Those are going to be very, very useful, in particular for a couple of future furnace golems. Also, there's a new talisman in the expansion that makes your throwing pots do more damage. So yeah, I'm going to be making a build for that soon. And speaking of builds, I want to go back and upgrade the backhand blade, but first, I want to go and get another weapon. And for this one, there should be a dude roaming about. Oh shit, there he... Oh! No. No! That was a mauling. I got sucker punched. Welcome to the lands of shadow. Okay, so we've established he's nasty, he's naked, he's feral. And coming up short on the first jump attack is not a good way to start this. Oh my god, he rolled through the second one. And popped the bubble. Does not roll the third. We have knocked him on his ass. This is good. Staggered him a little. He is letting loose. The goose is loose. Now we're gonna just desperately try to make distance to heal. Will not make a difference. He runs us down. Oh, he does it again. We will have to... Oh, yes, there's an opening. While he's doing that Ash of War. And he drinks. That's only fair. We did it too. Where did he get the flask? I don't think about it. But home stretch. Tries to drink again. Stuns himself. We are good. That dude's a little bit scary. This is that +0 blessing damage. This is why you need to scour the lands of shadow for those fragments. You'll get torn to shreds. Okay, and from there, speaking of fragments, we're gonna go down to this church that's at the bottom of the hill by the cops. God, the flaming dog. With a special new kind of fire to denote it's more lethal. Man, that damage, though. I was gonna say, this isn't anything really to worry about, and he usually drops his weapons, so we might get a 2-for-1. Really only came here for the fragment. Kind of forgot he was there. Got a black steel hammer. Pretty happy about that. And some smithing stones. We're still getting those. 2 fragments, in fact. The number that you need to expend to upgrade will increase over time. I don't think we've spent any yet. So now I'm going to go back to Roundtable Hold, make some adjustments, some upgrades to the new weapons, and we'll be right back. Okay, so let's look at this moveset, because it's really, really nice. Very flowy, these movements like a dancer. Lots of double hits, advancing attacks, and then this Ash of War that gives you half of a near automata dash. Oh, it's so good. It's super, super fun. And we're gonna play around with that. Especially since we're still kind of on our Ash of War kick till we get a new foundation for a build. Which this is kind of giving us. Welcome back, Beast Claws. Another fast weapon where the attacks move you forward a whole lot, so you can wind them up from way outside of an enemy range. An enemy's range. And then nearby, just through the underpass bridge under the plateau, we are going to meet even more new characters and get even more shadow fragments. This is at the foot of the stairway that's going to lead to the first major dungeon. There's still quite a bit in the gravesite plains, like just in the overworld to get around to before we head in there, but I at least want to come to the site of grace, the cross, this NPC, and then also the Scadutree Fragment and a friend.
You must be the Tarnished. I am Ansbach, formerly in service to Lord Moog, but now, like you, another soul guided by kindly Mikola. I'm hardly the steady hand I once was. My fighting days are far behind me, which is why I have chosen to dedicate myself to investigation, to discern tender Mikola's ultimate purpose.
I'd rather not volunteer service to a new master unless I know that I can be of use. May I request a service of you? 6 crosses identical to this one have been discovered in these lands. They are akin to Tender Mikkela's footprints, or gravestones, which mark what he's left behind. If you discover any more crosses, be certain to tell me. I presume you, too, are keen to know just what kind Mikkela is doing here.
Okay, so Ansbach was one of Moog's people. I abandoned here part of the flesh of my body, same as the first cross. They will not all read the same.
If you discover any more crosses, be certain to tell me. I presume you, too, just what kind...
So then we'll rest at the site of grace, and that will unlock even more dialogue from Ansbach.
Just tarnished. What brings you here? Oh, you must mean Samor. Samor is a kind and stalwart ally. He provisions our little outfit. Samor traffics with the Forager brood, his brethren, who collect supplies from all corners of the land. No doubt they find inspiration in his many virtues. These are not your foes, Tarnished. Should you spot any Forager brood, be sure to mind your manners. Righteous Tarnished.
Sir Moore. He, quote, traffics with the Forager brood. Who are they? Well, not our enemies, apparently, as he insisted twice. It's weird he had to specify not to hurt them on sight, though, huh?
We work together for Mikkela the Kind. Many things we have found.
Govlon will, Govlon deal. We can afford a solitary note, but it's a useful one and tells us about the sealed spirit springs. I think the title of that note really tells you everything that you need to know, though.
For you, Lady Leda, her allies, and the Forager brood. Things bring joy to all. I like find for you. Things bring
joy to all. Should you chance upon a sealed spring, look for a stack of stones nearby. Topple them and you can break the seal. Just very intuitive knowledge that you don't really need to buy a note to get. But look at this view as the red of the sky from the sunset. Striking. Oh, yeah. Shadow of the Erdtree contains some of the most fascinating and gorgeous fantasy landscapes I have ever seen. It's a treat. Alright, guess nothing is new from him when we rest. Now we can dump fragments, now that I have a couple. And then we can go back and do a boss. And then probably the furnace golem to round things out. That's pretty good. That gets us up around +2, +3. Wasn't paying super close attention, but that's enough to make a sizable difference, especially since the patch that came out ages ago, which slightly changes the scaling. The earlier levels from the Scadutree Fragments actually make a much bigger difference relative to what they did before now. Ultimately, once you get to +20, you're still around the same place as pre-patch. It's just the early levels are a lot more impactful now. Oh, and our blue wiggly boys! They're just hanging out. Don't hurt them. Be not afraid. This land is peaceful. Its inhabitants kind. Speaking of, when Ansbach says that Sir Moore and the Forager brood are kind, that does make me feel suspicious just from, like, history. Because the last time that an NPC told me that someone was kind in a Souls game, I do recall that it was Priscilla telling us those exact words about the inhabitants of the Painted World. And they are neither peaceful nor kind. But I'm gonna trust that Sir Moore is genuinely, as he is shaped, a big ol' cinnamon roll friend. Not like this dude. Knight of the Solitary Jail. We can abuse some of these nice ashes of war. And the fact that he's a bit staggerable, but everything else about him, deadly. Deadly and scary. He is nameless, nevertheless, he is not a chump. He is one of the first big obstacles that people tend to run into in Shadow of the Erdtree. And I think what makes him especially dangerous is how unassuming he is. Like, this is not a fight that should be life or death. This should not be a super hard fight. Just based on the visual identity of the character and the name. Do not underestimate him. Like, between the rapid-fire bolts, that'll kill you outright if you get caught, the damage of his swings, his occasional poise hits, the vortex slicer, he's so much more lethal than he looks. Oh, like that. I can't get caught like that again. He's a great lesson in how much you need Scadutree Fragments to not get ruthlessly torn apart. And it should be said that that's like the bare minimum. It's not that having all of these Scadutree Fragments turns this from extremely difficult to like moderately difficult or even easy. No. It just goes from extreme to less extreme. Steel greatsword wielded by the Knights of the Solitary Jail. Through a secret rite, they relinquish their hearts for a heightened battle prowess. Next, they engrave their blades with two crests, one depicting the light of birth and the other solitude. That's what it's called. Solitary Moon Slash. It's essentially the Vortex Slicer. Nice looking set, too. Very heavy, though. Overlapping plates, nameless mausoleums of the realm of shadow are said to hold the spirits of warriors who lost their names or their hearts. Nice looking set, plus a decent. Not gonna be replacing the backhand blade in my setup, but hey. And then finally, I think we'll go after our first Furnace Golem. Our first of many. There's going to be a lot of those dotted around the Land of Shadow. These Colossi have huge AoE stomps if you try to fight them from mid-range. They have disgusting projectiles where they kick flaming rocks at you and do like 90% of your health and damage. And then, of course, from super long range, the Tornado Fire Laser that engulfs the landscape. So the thing to know about these dudes is that you want to do as much damage as possible and as many hits as possible quickly to their legs to drop them. And you want to do that while avoiding these. It has a grab with a nasty hitbox where it dunks you into its mouth, into the basket at the top, and then we have these stomps with the huge AoEs. That'll just drop Torrent on one hit. Thankfully, I'm fine, though. This gives me time to jump this. You really want to be careful with that timing. The hitbox is both taller than it looks, and it lingers longer than it looks. Like this, I thought that was gonna hit. That was very, very close to me taking a huge spike of damage. Anything, though, to keep them from kicking rocks at me. Oh, yeah, and you have to do this twice to get one stagger, and one stagger isn't enough to kill. This might hit up the hill. Yeah, okay, good. Too early. I am always worried about going too early. Let's speed this up a little bit. Here is what it looks like when we drop him. Drop. This should be more than enough. For all of that effort, deflecting hard tier and a furnace visage. Smaller imitation of the furnace golem's visage for crafting, rare stone masks surrounded by curled horns depicting the fell god of fire that haunts the sagas of the Horn Scent. It looks suspiciously similar to something we've seen before. Sets up a connection to the Omen. And the deflecting hard tier, that is well worth the couple of minutes it takes to chop that big boy down. It's a bit tedious, like I said, but this one lets you perfect guard. And perfect guarding boosts your guard counters. They added what is essentially a secondary parry mechanic with this. It's fantastic. So I think we'll head back to the main gate. I think that's where we'll end off for tonight. Thank you all for watching, everyone. Take it easy. Have a good one.